Yeah, I often hear people struggling with like internal dialogues or beliefs. Something like a very common thing is like I'm not good enough, or among men, not only but among men, it's very also often you hear this kind of deep feeling or belief of like life is hard, and I cannot rely on anybody else. I have to do it on my own. And there's many variations of this, or also around strong beliefs around relationship. Like I will never be happy in relationships, or with money. Like I'm just not worth it. Like it's success is for everybody else, but not for me. I And we might already know cognitively and from your more mental understanding that it's not like this. But that's the nature of a belief, that something believes this in a deeper sense, then you can just convince yourself. You cannot convince yourself out of it. It's not the truth, but still, like, it kind of like, with enough stress or trigger, it pulls you back into that kind of certainty. That's how life is, and that's how I am. And then you're having this inner conflict. And so, what I find very helpful for people is to kind of explore this. Okay, do you know or feel the origin of this in your own life? And sometimes there are those things out of difficult life experiences. Often beliefs are being born that helped us to protect. But then, very often, also certain qualities or beliefs like these, people say, yeah, I look, but I don't know where this comes from. I don't know. And then it's very helpful to kind of open the horizon where you look into, and include your ancestors and your family into this. And if you ask, who else in my family, when I look back in history, would have known or even believed that, or even adopted such a belief in order to survive or to go through life. And then often when people do that, you start to see, like, yeah, wow, actually my father already, my mother already, my grandmother already, and so forth, they also were living with this kind of internal reality. And sometimes that's were even things that people said. Life is hard. Uh, you cannot trust anybody, and you have to do this on your own. So maybe there were really like outer convictions and values in family systems. And these things are very, very strong. They create even a certain kind of loyalty within the family system, or identification with it. So when you kind of trace that back, where this might come from, or sometimes you might even then see the origin. Where did it start? Such a belief or perspective on the world. It really helps a lot, because again, it takes you out of that cycle of like being in it and then feeling shame that you're still in it and struggling to get out of it. But then it's like becomes often a loop. And when you notice this, you have suddenly a much larger possibility how to work with it. And then you can kind of start to see, it didn't start with me. Like there's a famous saying, it didn't start with you, but it can start to end with me. And this goes for many repetitive patterns, cycles of thinking, health symptoms, or even other issues. When you start to see where it comes from and where it was necessary and where I am right now, things can really turn around. And quite unexpected things can move in ways that you didn't know before.